Welcome back, Ghost Ghouls and Goblins, to Dr. Shock's Torture Cafe. And with me today, Amy Petula and Hope Holloway from Chattanooga Ghost Tours. We want to talk 1 second here with Hope. She's one of the main tour guides on the tour, and she's just a wonderful storyteller and has just a super bank of information about ghosts. And so Hope, and I've seen Hope in action, and you guys have got to check her out now sometime. So go out and book your tour today with Chattanooga Ghost Tours. But right now, Hope, tell us about the tour. The tour starts at Walnut Street Bridge.
That's correct.
Every evening at...
Most evenings at 8:15, but on Thursday and Saturday nights it actually begins at 7:30, and that's because we have an extended tour on those 2 nights. We get to go to an extra stop.
I see. So if folks were to show up, say, 7:15, 7:20, 7:30, they're going to catch the tour, and you guys meet at the end of Walnut Street Bridge at 100 Walnut Street, I think?
At the Hunter end of the
Yes.
Walnut Street Bridge. And a good landmark there's the dog statue right at the end of the bridge. You know, most local people have heard of this dog statue, the most high-fived dog in Chattanooga. And Amy sets up right near that dog. So.
Good. Okay. Fantastic. So that's where you'll find them, folks, is the Walnut Street Bridge if you want to book the tour. So, and like I say, I've been on the tour, but for the folks at home who have not, what do you talk about? Now, I know a lot of the ghost stories you tell are historical accounts, and so just give me a brief, what would you like people to know about the tour?
Well, they are historical accounts, and to me, that's what makes these stories even creepier, because you know they're true. They're based on documented, facts from newspaper articles, books, and things like that. And it's like I always say, if you know a little history, it helps to know where the ghosts come from. You know, to know the ghost, you have to know where they come from. So that's
Sure.
what I think is interesting about it all.
Okay, now you said you had some creepy stories that have happened on the tour. What kind of thing happens on the tour? I know you use an Ovilus X, and you've heard some pretty strange communications from this device, which we will get into here in a bit and show you all at home a little bit about the Ovilus X. But yeah, tell us about some. What creepy stories can you impart to our creepy fans out there?
When you say creepy stories, there is one that jumps to mind immediately. I don't get scared often when things happen on the tour, and things happen often, supernatural things. I get excited because it's proof that what I'm talking about is there. But this one occurrence scared me to death. Not going to lie about it, not going to pretend. We were at the underground spot. I had a group of about 25 people.
You were in underground Chattanooga.
Yes.
A lot of people don't even know there is an underground Chattanooga.
Exactly.
There certainly is. So, and it's haunted.
And it is kind of a secret because a lot of people don't know about it. That, to me, makes it more mysterious just by that fact.
Yes,
but
it does, sure.
we were at this spot. I had about 25 people, and within the group of people, I had a mom and a 4-year-old boy. Now, the boy was 4. He didn't know he was on a ghost tour. He wasn't paying attention. At every spot, I'd talk to the guest, and he'd kind of run over to the side and play. So he wasn't really grasping what we were doing there, which makes what I'm about to say more poignant, I believe. Well, we got to this underground spot, and most of us are taking pictures and, listening to a few extra stories, but the little boy had ran way over to the side to play. And we were at the spot, and have you ever been in one of those moments where just like that, the air changes?
It happens every time Dingbat comes into the room, yes.
Exactly. So you know what I'm saying.
I know what you're talking about.
Well, we were in that moment that the temperature dropped, I'd say 10 to 20 degrees. No kidding. It was like that. And even the most skeptical person in my group said, "What's going on here?" And I said, well, let's figure this out. And my eye was drawn to that little boy, the boy that had been running and playing. Well, he was standing stock still. And he looked at his mom, and he said, "Mom, heard voice." Now, if you have an older child, 8, 9, 10, 11, they might be able to make up something appropriate to what you're talking about. So not to be cynical, but you don't know for sure at that point if it's true.
Sure.
But with a 4-year-old, I think we can agree they're not at that stage of what you're thinking yet. So we were all interested in what he was going to say. His mom asked him what the voice said, and I'm not exaggerating this. He looked back at her and he said, "Mom," voice said, "Get out!" And at that point, I turned to my group and I said, "It's time to go. You don't have to ask me twice. We got out."
And I guess don't really have a name for that ghost, or who was that ghost?
I do not know, and I do not care to find out. We're going to leave that alone. It's not happened since then, and this was, 2.5, 3 years ago, but it was enough to still at this point make the hair raise on the back of my neck.
Now, you guys tell a story about Southside Saloon.
That's true.
I've got to hear about this. This is really quite entertaining. And I didn't really realize this, that Southside Saloon used to be a brothel.
A brothel, indeed.
And it is haunted, as Hope and Amy are.
Absolutely, it is.
Tell us about the Southside Saloon.
Well, it's an interesting place. We know that it used to be a brothel, and a lot of the things that have happened there have been appropriate to it being a brothel. We have a picture of a fellow in, distinguished-looking fellow in a suit coat and boxers.
Only you can see through him.
Yes, you can see through him. And I was there the night the picture was taken, so I know he wasn't actually there, so that was interesting. So there was that, and I saw the picture as soon as it was taken, so I know that it was legitimate, and it was very interesting. But there's another thing I want to tell you about, appropriate to being a brothel. One night, well, I wear different costumes different nights, as you've seen already.
And you're very much into a Victorian type of a look. I just adore your fashion sense, and when you go on the tour, Hope is going to be wearing some cool stuff. I've noticed that. So so you were decked out in your gear.
I was, and that particular night, this is a full bodice corset, but I had on what they call a cincher. It was just kind of like a cummerbund corset, but it had the ribbons and ties, several ties up the front. Now, we were standing there at Southside, and I began to feel like something was tickling me in the ribs, and I thought, I'm not going to say anything about this. I don't want anyone to think I'm crazy. But it continued to tickle, tickle, tickle. And then there were guests standing in front of me looking at my face. They could tell something was going on, but then they could actually see proof of what was happening because the strings on my corset were moved out like this. This ghost, whoever he may be,
was trying to
undo my corset.
So, folks, you see, even ghosts have libidos, right? I mean,
there you go.
Especially ones at brothels.
Yes.
I guess so. Locked in that is quite interesting. I hope I don't end up there one day. And we just want to remind you folks that the Southside Saloon is not a brothel anymore. It's a fine establishment serving great food and fun.
Very good food.
And the tour actually goes down to the South Side pretty much, every evening or many evenings?
That's the
evenings.
Extended stop, and that's on Thursday and Saturday.
Thursdays and Saturdays, yeah.
Yep, that's the nights we begin at 7:30 instead of 8:15.
And so some of the landmarks that you pass on the tour, what are some of those? Do you mind telling us the places you all visit? Or?
Sure. I'll tell you a couple of places. And each tour guide's a little different. We all have varied styles, and that's why it's good to come in and experience different guides, because you get a different tour every time. But I generally begin at the Hunter, because it is, and I hope it's okay to say this, but it is the one place in Chattanooga with the most identified ghosts together in one spot.
Very interesting.
So I like to start big, and on nights when we're not doing the extended stop, I end at the Sheraton Reed House, which is the home of the most famous ghost. So I like to say...
I've been in that room myself.
Have you?
Yes, that's, what's that, 311?
311.
Yeah, I've been there.
But I like to say it's nice bookends, because, starting with the most ghost, ending with the most famous,
And you all walk down to from the Walnut Street Bridge all the way to
the Reed House. Yes.
Now I wonder, you reminded me, you have more than one tour guide, obviously, and we met Hope and Kevin Bartolomucci. And tell us about the other tour guides that maybe didn't get some camera time with the Shock Theater Project this time.
All right.
Except for Hope's husband, John Holloway, who actually showed up the first segment we shot. John showed up, and we put him to work immediately running camera.
Yes.
And he did a great job, John. Thank you so much, buddy.
Yeah. So, yes, as you mentioned, John is one of the guides.
John Holloway, your husband.
John Holloway, he's my husband, and it's kind of interesting. We have different styles and different accents, so people find it surprising that we're married and we grew up in the same town even. But, we have very different styles, but he's a great guide, and we also have Vincent, and he's fabulous. He's a wonderful storyteller, very well known, and he's great. Then we have Sean Phipps, and Vincent Phipps. Also, they have the same last name, not related that I know of. But Sean, like I said, we're all different. We just all have such different styles, but Sean's great as well. And then we have Donnie, and he does the hunt and sometimes does tours as well.
And I also want to remind everybody, the other tour guide that was on our show for the episode The Woman in Black was Kevin Bartolomucci. He could not be here today. He's got some prior engagements, but we wanted to thank him also. He did a fantastic job. I really enjoyed Kevin. He's such a talented guy. And yeah, Kevin, you can send me the check in the mail anytime. But, hey, we're going to take another little break right now, and when we come back, we're going to test out some of the latest in ghost gadgets that Amy and Hope have brought with them today. So stay with us. Dr. Shock's Torture Cafe with Chattanooga Ghost Tours.